In June of 2019, we met with the hospital to have like a review of what went wrong. And one thing that they did talk about was the fact that I was allowed to labor so long with broken waters. And they did say an issue with that is that, they do take notes that they know, it was ruptured at this time. But they have to go physically into your chart, click on it to view it. They talked about perchance getting like a clock, like a little like digital clock that just sits on the monitor so they can see for the laboring person how long it's been since their water is broken. So it's like a visual reminder every time they go in to check, your chart or whatever on the computer. As far as I know, that was never implemented.
I can't imagine it would be. I mean, it's a good idea, but anytime you talk about a software change like that.
I didn't have high expectations, but it was something that like, it was important to me, and I genuinely hope they do it. I really hope they do, because, it hurts. I hear more stories about it happening at the same, I just hear more stories about it. I'm like, why? It's just so senseless.
There was someone who was in, let me think about it. Can't remember, Europe, Spain, or Italy. I can't remember which one it was. And they were talking about the birth they had. I don't remember the details, but they spiked a temperature, and they were talking about what they did. And I said, the only thing you really do when you have a maternal temperature is basically you expedite the delivery of the baby in whichever way most likely. If you are, 9 centimeters dilated, then you expedite vaginal birth. If we're not near, the end of the road for vaginal birth, you switch to C-section. You don't sit around, because you already know something is going wrong. And the only thing you can do is to avoid anything going wrong-er. So it's like,
right,
you're already in a bad situation. You want the best possible outcome, not waiting for things to get worse. That's always the wrong decision. That's where home birth midwives, frankly, their most common mistake ever is realizing they're in trouble and then waiting for things to get even worse before they do anything.
You were talking about going back with the hospital and talking about having kind of like a clock. And I will tell you immediately what I thought, because I was like, that's such a good idea for the medical people to have it like right there, even if you have it on the outside of the door, to have it like right there so they can see going in the room. Oh, we've already been doing this for 12 hours, or, we know how many, we know how much time, so we can keep them safe. And I do know why they wouldn't put that in a room, is because we got these natural people that are like, they put us on a timer, and the timers is actually for a reason, but the natural people try to make it like they want to make money off from you, and they want to get a C-section off from you. And, we have all the natural woo stuff that comes out. So I know that's why they wouldn't want to put that in there, but I'm like, that is such a good idea. That could be almost like a little digital clock that could be on your charts. You could, you don't even have to have it around. So when the nurse or doctor comes in, that's even just checking you or whatever, it's on the chart of like, hey, we've been doing this for so many hours.
And that's such a good idea. I didn't even think of that. Like just having like a physical one instead of like a software.
I'd say a physical one would be great, because if you tell someone that you want to muck about with their software and their user interface, they'll probably, I've dealt with software people. They're like,
right,
do we really need to do this?
And it would be change. And I can understand that, like I'm not an unreasonable person. Yes. I can hear that, but y'all, we could go to the dollar store and get a digital thing.
Clock. Oh my gosh.
It's low cost.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about it
would be great to go back and tell them, you know what? I liked where you guys were going with this, but maybe we can up it, make it even better, with that the parents don't see it to stress out. So this is where you're accommodating the natural people. This is where you're accommodating everybody that doesn't want to see it. But when that happens, where the water's broken, and when it's been broken, especially, but even if you didn't know, you should still be kind of monitoring it on a timer anyways. But if they had something like that could just go like on your file, you're not seeing the file. They put it outside their door. It's being moved around. It's at the foot of your bed. Nobody's looking at that. Just a little tiny something that keeps track. That actually would probably be something that you might be able to kind of pull through at a hospital, maybe something like we talk about ways of improvement, but that would be something that I would think of. And the other thing that I actually was going to ask you about that kind of makes me personally mad just because of my own personal experience and stuff like that is they had a monitor on your kid that's going up and down, in and out, all this stuff. And instead of just going to get another damn monitor, you know what I mean? Like, hey, maybe it's the batteries. Hey, maybe it's just having malfunctions.
Put batteries in it.
Go get some freaking batteries. Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to blow your mind again, guys, because they did. They went and got another one and they were like, oh, this one must be broken too.
Oh.
And
well,
now to be fair, this is like secondhand information from my support people. I don't have a lot of like memory about everything that happened when I started pushing.
And you shouldn't,
because obviously
you should be able to trust the people around you.
Right. And so that's what they told me. Like, I vaguely remember I remember them saying the original Monica, whatever that stands for, wasn't working. And so I didn't remember the second one being brought in. I think it was my sister who remembered that happening. I remember them trying to get the thing on her scalp, but I want to say that was probably later when she had descended more or enough to, palpate her scalp to get there.
You don't actually have to descend that far because they put the monitor on Ryan's scalp, and I think I had gotten all the way to a whopping 6 at that point. Obviously not to
really. So okay, so it may not have been towards the end of the labor. Then I can't recall. I remember it happening. Yeah. I just don't. It all those 4.5 hours like blurred.
Speaking, when they get concerned about the monitor readings and they start getting hot to get accurate readings on your kid, that's when they'll go for the scalp monitor.
That sounds about right.
So it's usually a sign of concern. Or for some reason that, depending on you and the baby, they cannot keep the dang monitor on the baby.
Right. And I think that happened too, honestly. Like, they were struggling with it.
Are they the ones that are round and they just put them on, you put like a tube top kind of thing on you? Is that what you had?
So the Monica, it's like they put this like sticker on me, right? Okay. And it goes like right here. And then this thing clips on. And it's like almost like a wireless monitor. So you don't have to be like strapped to the bed. It's just like right here. It's a little bit more, it's a little bit more freeing. I mean, I still had an epidural, so I wasn't moving anywhere far, but it made it a little bit easier since I was in there for so long instead of being strapped to the bed. So I want to say it's like an Monika, Monica, if you like.
I'm going to look that up because I had something, it was like, they put like a disc, but I had a tube top, like it was a mesh sleeve on my tummy that held it onto me. I didn't have.
That might work too. Was it like, I remember it being blue. Was it blue? Like, yes. That's the only thing I really remember is it was like about this big
blue thing. They couldn't get a good reading on my kid either, but we were already, when we went in, it was a little bit different. We were at a 9 when I got there. Cool. So they were, I know it was not expected, but they were like, okay, we'll just put this on here and let's just go, because they didn't think it would be very long, and it wasn't.
Right. So at a 9, it's go time.
But they couldn't really tell what was going on, even though it was, so I wonder if those monitors they're great, but they also.
How accurate are they?
Yeah. There's more of a risk.
I never even until just now really thought about that aspect of it, like how risky it is. And maybe it's not even worth having them, or maybe trying to find better technology than that one.
Yeah. And see, that's where I was going to ask about that, because that monitor, like, okay, I've been monitored many times of, my kids and all these different things. And I have really more aggressive boys. So if you put a monitor on, even if you're trying to do an ultrasound, my boys are like kicking it or punching it. And they're not having it. Like, you know what I mean? And so I've had to like redo tests because my kid will beat off the monitors. Like they can strap it down, and my kid will get it off. They'll get the straps off, and I'm not moving. I'm like, I'm barely going to breathe because I just want to get out of here. And here's my kid like, nope, we're going to be here forever. So you think about that kind of stuff of like, you're in labor, there's stuff going on, and you have a monitor that's not working properly, whether it is malfunctioning, whether it is your baby is in distress, they go to get another one or go to do other stuff. It's still happening again. As a logical person that's not medical, if you put a monitor on and it showed signs that could possibly be the baby's in distress, mothers, like stuff's happening, and you put another one on thinking it's a battery or something else is off, and it's still doing the same thing, logically would be, we need to evaluate this in more of a serious way, whether that means pulling out the big monitor thing or doing an ultrasound to actually go in there and like, you know what I mean? Like actually see, is the baby in distress? It was like, we're just going to keep trying all these different monitors on you and see if one of them is, but you're going from hours of this happening where it's like you easily could have had, and I know like pretty much all the big hospitals have that, especially now, like you were, this was only a few years ago, really. They easily could have had, they easily could have had the freaking sono person come and check baby quickly, do a BBP, do whatever you need to do to check where's baby at, what's going on with the cord, what's going on with, they check everything, and they do it in the hospital all the time if you go in. So if you're having problems with a monitor and you don't want to go get the big one that straps you down in the bed, why wouldn't they have somebody else come in just to do a visual of like, let's just double check that this is a monitor problem, that this is a malfunction problem, and not something going on with the baby where the waters have been broke for a long time. You've been laboring for a long time. We're slowly getting places, but not really. And also mothers saying, I just want a C-section because, this is kind of like, we've reached that point. Like I'm done. I'm over it. I've been doing this too long. I just want get my kid out of me. Let's do this. So that's where I was like, when you're saying all this about the monitors, I'm just thinking they have so many things at the hospital to check this. And it literally takes like a few minutes. Like they're so fast of what they do. Like go get another monitor. Don't just be like, well, it's a battery for two monitors that are the same. Do you have another version of a monitor? Do you have, can you do an ultrasound? Like, I don't understand of like, why all these hours and all these time. And like, I know they do the, the head monitor, stuff like that. But exactly like Angie's saying, normally when they're putting them on, they know there's distress happening. They know that this is happening. So hours are going on, and now they're putting like, this is the distress monitor being put on your baby. Why didn't you just have a C-section? Like, let's just get the baby out because we're not sure. That could have been the easiest, simplest thing that they could have said to you. And you would have been like, sure, let's do it.